we burned down the windmill, grabbed the kids, came to town, uh, went to the orphanage, and then handed off the kids we found in the orphanage to the headmistress there, whose name is
Claudia.
Claudia, at St. Andrew's Orphanage. Then we went over to the Blue Water Inn, where we talked to the bartender lady, and she said we were gonna help her. She hired us to find her missing alcohol shipments, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's about where we ended up. Late wine shipment. Yep, that's my
Question for
notes.
you, Shatter.
Yep.
How strict are you going to be on these, like, spell component things, like Sprig of whatever?
So with most spells, again, if you're a spellcaster to an extent, you'll have like a pouch with the basics on you. So it really only becomes a problem or something to think about whenever it requires like possibly like later on, or I mean it could be now, I guess, some type of a component that has like an actual value to it. So if you're, I guess if you're casting something that is supposed to have like a diamond or some unique gem, um, I think that's put there partially in place. I think Grim said partially just random as well, to have like a potential limit to that. So I would say overall, don't stress about that. You can make a note of, going out and gathering at certain times, just for RP purposes. I think would be cool, but I'm not gonna, if it's just a normal-ish spell, I'm not gonna be like, oh, how many rat shits do you have left? So, and part of that just comes down to like what you guys think is more fun. I mean, that's my number one goal, is to have you guys have fun. So if it's like, oh, I'd rather, you know, min max this to a point, like sure, then you can roll something every, time you want to go gather. But it's not something that I would default to being fun. So cool. Anyone have any questions or issues with level up? You guys were promised basically room and board for tonight. Assuming that you guys, I think, or maybe for a couple days, if you were going to go head out and try and find the wine shipment, you have a good idea where the vineyard's at on your map. I don't know if I think I pinged it. Yeah, someone called it Wine Place on the map. It's to the southwest of where you guys currently are, and yeah, you're free to do as you'd like. We can consider it to be getting later in the day here. I think they were serving dinner, if I remember correctly, in the inn at the time, and so the usuals are still here. You have two probably better dressed than others, sitting at this table here, kind of talking amongst themselves, not being particularly vocal or particularly outgoing at this point. And then you have some other commoners that are just kind of hanging out at this table here, and then commoners to the south as well. These two you notice as being probably related, just because of the clothes they're wearing seem to be of nicer quality. And then at the same time, they do look related as well. So, and then you've seen the barkeep, Danica is her name, and then you've also seen, she's mentioned her husband Erwin in the back as well, and there's two kids that are kind of working the kitchen, or kind of working the shift tonight, and they've said that they own this place. So
I was just
You guys are good. You guys are free to do as you wish. The inn is doing its thing. It's people are enjoying themselves and drinking the wine that they don't know is coming to a potential dryness here sooner than later. So,
What time of day is it? Sorry.
you're fine. I was saying it's getting later in the day. They're probably serving like a dinner. We got early dinner right now. You may assume that it would get a little busier before it gets quieter, but they did mention that you guys have the place upstairs, which you can access from the. Let me see. Which you can access from the outside staircase to pick any room that you want. They said that they're not in use now. There's one room with 4 beds, or there's 2 rooms with 2 beds each. And they said you could take, whatever 2 rooms you wanted to do.
Well, I guess we only need 3 beds, I'm assuming. But I'd rather sleep in my own. No offense to anyone else.
I'm sure it's probably a agreed upon thing, considering the travels.
Yeah, I don't need a bed.
Vemrak, like dead serious, says, I don't mind sharing. Not really realizing he takes up more than the whole bed.
Yeah, I can just honestly sleep anywhere.
Okay, well, when you guys are ready to go up, I can show you that area. You guys can choose a location that you want. Set up shop for a bit.
I think we had talked about some people being interested in checking out the armament shop.
That's right.
Do we want to try and go there before sun goes down, just to see if we can get that done and hit the road in the morning for this vineyard? I mean, does anybody else want to do anything around town before we do that?
What time did you say it was? Sorry.
Late in the day.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's kind of up to you guys.
How late do you think? Would we think that the shops would be open till?
I mean, you can have hours if you want. Still, I mean, you'd assume that they're probably open till. I mean, depending on the shop, the general store may be later. The other more like niche locations maybe till 6, 7, maybe.
The out of game, I think they had mentioned the guys at the gate had mentioned the brothers that can be found here at the inn that hunt for a living. The Kruskin brothers.
Yep.
So we can probably talk to them. Say they do a lot of werewolf hunting for the area.
Yeah, you guys have got quite a few options at this point. So don't feel pressured into one. You can kind of do whatever you'd like. There's a whole town out there. So
should we talk to these brothers and see what they know?
Sure, we're here.
are we
trying? We're trying to
check, Vimrak.
Say again. Roll what?
Roll perception. Okay, continue.
Do we want to go over there, Toto?
So we're trying to go hunt werewolves. Is that what we're trying to do?
No, there's 2 brothers that do a lot of werewolf hunting in the area.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out what are we asking them. What are we trying to get at? Because like, I'm not one to abide werewolves, but I also am mostly interested in these tarot cards and how we figure out how to deal with you know who. So I just want to know what you're trying to get out of them before we head over there.
Yeah, well, they're hunters. They probably know the land really well. So we could inquire about some of our cards.
Sure. Sounds good. So I was just clarifying so I know what the hell. Cool. I got the card notes up so I can use that. You want me to lead the way or you want to lead the way?
I don't have eyeballs. I don't think I'm the best first impressionist in the group.
Cool. So I'll have a bit more of my drink, and Did we get food?
Yes.
Awesome. I finished my food too, whatever it was.
Okay. It was a not werewolf stew.
Nice. I will. I'm assuming these two dudes are the Kreskin brothers.
Yes.
Because everybody else in here is a hooded woman.
Well, sure.
Well, they all look like hooded women.
Yeah, they're not all hooded women. I really wish there was just like a bunch of. I think next I did it for today a little bit, just like random tokens, because I don't know. I kind of feel like it hurts the. You have to really like think about these aren't all, very secretive looking women.
It's the visual language you're communicating with your tokens,
it's
and it's
difficult,
like,
right?
I think I have over the past 2 years just like piles and piles of tokens and art I've collected where it's just like that one, if I'm smart enough to do it. The worst is when it's just like the profile D&D Beyond image for a commoner. Sorry, I had a scene where it was like a crowd of people with the other party, and half of them were just those little green profiles of commoners, and I was like, don't worry about that.
I just need like a shitload. I need like commoner 1 through 20, like of each. Like
you can randomize that in the system. Anyway, I'll walk over to the Kreskin brothers, and I'll kind of try to like. I don't know if you want me to do like insight or perception or something, but I just kind of want to like take the measure of them as I'm walking up to them, just to kind of get a feel for like how I should engage with these dudes.
Sure. Let me go ahead and roll an insight check.
Okay. Normal. Well, that's good.
They seem well mannered. They're dressed above average. Actually, they're dressed best in the entire location, unless any of you are put on something fancier. Lately, they don't actually strike you as hunters. They're talking amongst themselves, and they've been drinking heavily so far, even as early on in the night or evening, if you will, as it's been. But they seem to be holding their liquor. They don't seem belligerent or anything. But go ahead.
I'm gonna detour as I walk up to the table and walk up to the bartender.
Okay.
And say, could I get 2 more glasses of whatever the brothers are drinking?
She looks up and says, sure. Choices are slim, but here you go.
Cool. And I'll grab them.
Okay.
And walk back over to the table and just kind of walk up to the two of them and say, good evening. Was hoping I could share a drink with you and have a quick conversation if you don't mind. And I'll hold up the 2 whatever it is I'm holding.
Yeah, it's some of the wine. It's
sure,
that like lower quality.
Yeah.
That's kind of left, and they look up with a bit of a puzzlement overall, but they kind of beckon. Sure, they kind of size you up as well. What are you wearing?
I'm still in my armor. Like,
okay.
Toto owns his armor and a leather like overcoat that he wears over it. So he wears chainmail. He doesn't have plate because I'm an idiot. But like he basically, unless otherwise specified, is always in pretty heavily abused chainmail armor with a leather kind of 3/4 length jacket over it.
Okay, is it overly in any way obvious that you are of the, let's say, background or cleric that you are? Like, you have to have symbols to an extent, right?
Yeah, like my shield has the symbol, my breastplate, or I have multiple. Toto is paranoid about not having a clerical symbol, So, like,
Okay.
there are multiple symbols of Torm about his person
Okay.
very conspicuously. Like, he does not hide that he is a cleric of Torm.
Okay. So as you approach and state as you did, we'll say that the. Let me see. I want to make sure.
Yeah, he wears his belief on his sleeve, and chest, and shield, and necklace.
So we'll say the. The one on the left looks up mostly. Well, they both look at you. They size you up a bit, and the one on the left kind of speaks in a pretty low, well-spoken manner. But there's definitely like an air of booze on the grammar, if you will, and just says, "Can't say the last time a man of God bought me a drink, but sure, we'll take a free one on you. What's your name?"
Toto von Hundenwald.
Nice to meet you. My name's Nicola, and this is my brother Carl. You know any good stories or drinking games? We are about 6 in so far tonight, and I guess would welcome company in that regard.
Stories I can probably tell you. A few drinking games. I've had one glass of wine and I can already feel it. I'm not going to pretend I could best either of you in any sort of drinking competition.
They laughed out at that.
Uh,
Give me 1 second.
did you do the thing where your mic ate itself?
No, he left his desk.
Wow.
I did the thing right, ran away real quick. So I'm sorry, I had to run to the other side of my house real quick. The one that spoke to you earlier, Nicola, according to himself, says, "Oh, well, no shame in that. I guess a man of God wouldn't necessarily have as much practice as we would, but sure. What's your best story?"
Oh, I think my one of my more recent ones was I'm kind of thinking back for a minute, and it's more if I'm trying to decide what I want to share.
Okay. And while you're doing this, they're
Yeah.
just kind of like taking like pretty good gulps of the drink you place in front of them. You'd imagine like at this pace, it would not take long for it to be gone. But they're waiting. They're interested. Nothing like intense, just kind of like a friendly banter.
So I think for a minute, and I point to a couple of links loose on my chainmail where there's obviously like a chunk torn out of it. And I said this was a couple months back, and I was traveling into a village, and they had an issue with some sort of disturbance in the night. So, I talked to the local town mayor and agreed to watch over some of their livestock yards for the night. And it ended up being a trio of ghouls. Luckily, I got them, but as you can see, I haven't had time to repair my chainmail yet. So I have to watch that when I get in a scrap.
So as they're about halfway through. They're listening intently, and then Nicola kind of says, "Well, for what you might lack in drinking ability, it seems you make up with the sword. I guess we're even now in terms of abilities here." The one that hasn't spoken yet is slightly less interested overall. Kind of looks up and looks behind the group. Toto, are you back? Or excuse me, Vimrak, you back? Looks past the group and just says, "You must all be together." Looking at you, Toto. It's like, "Those your friends?"
Yeah, we're sure you can guess new to town.
Yeah. Yeah, word of a group like you coming in, I'm sure will spread pretty quick. I'm sure most of the place already knows about it. I'm curious myself as to your intentions.
Well, I think we found ourselves here kind of by chance. We all met in a village where we were asked to investigate some strangeness in the woods beyond, and ended up here. Uh,
Um,
in your
Observer,
fine
what are you
land.
doing? And Royce, what are you doing? Are you guys just at the tables?
Yeah, I'm at the table,
Yep.
just kind of taking in the environment as I think about the spells I want.
Observer, you're noticeably a robot, or you're doing enough
I
to
have a
hide it?
hood. I have
Okay.
a hood on, so if someone like isn't paying attention, they wouldn't notice.
Okay. So Carl, who had asked you about what you guys are up to, says, "Well, I guess we find ourselves in similar situations, stuck in this shithole. What's your opinion of the of you know who?"
Seems like a problem that at this point we're not quite sure how to solve.
Carl looks over at Nicola and kind of gives him like this sort of wide eye, and then sort of a grunt, and then they both kind of cheers to that, and then down the rest of the drink that you purchased for them. Really an impressive amount of alcohol, and from what you've seen just in this sitting, they're very well spoken for what seems to be the amount that they've drank so far. Nicola's like, "Oh, ease up on him, you asshole. They found themselves here, so I'm sure they've had better times. So, well, all right, what brings you over? We're done fucking around."
Well, you mind if I sit down?
No, no, of course, please.
So I'll pull the
Assuming the
chair
chair
out.
can hold your weight. No offense with all that shit you're wearing. Jesus.
Yeah, that's next on the agenda to see if they have hot baths here. It's been a while. Um, or even a cold bath at this point. Sorry if you can
Yeah,
smell me.
I would go with cold. Sorry, bud.
Um, no, so we heard that the two of you have some skills in hunting. We have
Both of
some.
them at that, like, just sort of snicker a bit. Be like, "Oh, really? Hunting women?"
We were told werewolves, but maybe that's a euphemism around these parts.
Um, so they both look at each other and think for a bit. They kind of just snicker and they're like, "Well, I appreciate the drink, but I think you may have your brothers confused. Our last name is Watcher. Um, while a prominent family in this town you found yourself in, I think you're looking for the Kurskin brothers."
Oh, well, that's fantastic. No harm, no foul. I probably should have asked first, huh?
Uh,
Um,
you know, you guys walk in here and stand out like a sore thumb, but um, you know, it's still fun to play with the newbies in town, I guess. But yes, we hunt pussy more than we do werewolves. I can assure you of that. Um, rather, the crashness, or the, what's the word? When you're sort of over the top and
Blunt.
no, just what's it, like, crask or crash?
licentious, is that the word?
Sure, just very like uh, I don't know. Yes, all of
Crude.
those things.
Very crude.
Crude. Thank you.
God, now I want more vodka.
The
Jesus Christ.
the crudeness of them um, is starting to show a bit more, as maybe they were playing with you from the beginning. Um, but he's like, yeah, well, they might find themselves at the same table, um, a couple times a night. We frequent here much more consistently, considering we aren't out hunting ever, at least without outside the walls itself. But again, appreciate the beer and nice to make your acquaintance. I'm sure we'll run into you further. Feel free to stay. We're just sitting
Well,
here shooting the shit. But
what do you two
can't
do
help.
around town?
Well, um, we're nobles, of a sort, if you will, and you can hear the exaggeration on that word, and maybe the drunkenness a bit more, as the beer that you purchased them is probably sitting in, and they might be getting to a point of slurring a bit. We dabble in many of the noble dues of the town. We are quite respected amongst our peers, and also fancy ourselves a good drink every now and again, or maybe every hour, if you know what I mean. But it's very important work. Yes, indeed.
Well, assuming you are esteemed nobles of the town, I'm sure you have some knowledge of the illustrious mayor and his festivals. I know that we're supposed to contribute in some way to the next one. Do you have any idea what might be the most effective way a group of newcomers like us could contribute to that?
Uh, well, outside of sucking his dick, and they both find a lot of enjoyment out of that. Carl was the one who says it. Nicola joins in a very joyous laughter. The most useful thing, I think, for the new festival of the week, they're not afraid to say it, but their voices kind of hush a bit as they're kind of talking shit now about the strict rules of the town they found themselves in. I think, I don't know, what is it, Carl? Is it stick gathering this week? Yeah, I think it's lots of sticks. So if you fancy yourself a stick hunter, you could probably get on the old Vargas's good side with that. But in all seriousness, I'm pretty sure it's actually sticks. And like Nicola looks up and goes, "Yeah, I think it's sticks." And they kind of just chuckle amongst themselves as they have ordered another beer from Danica, and she brings it over, and they start to drink that one now. She's kind of giving you like a wide eye as she leaves, and just like a kind of a good luck sort of look as she goes back behind the bar.
I say, well, I appreciate your jest and your honesty. I'll wave at Danica and indicate like they can have one more round on me. And then I'll say, and I think I'm gonna avail myself of that cold bath at this point because I can smell myself. But I hope the two of you have a good night.
Yes, you as well. Something more comfortable. God. And they look over at you, Vemrak, as well, and kind of like hold up the glass and appreciate it, boys. We'll see you around. I assume you're staying here, so you might hear us as well. So,
Question: where can we find the other set of brothers that are more useful?
whoa. They kind of look at each other and just kind of snicker a bit. Like, we like this one. We do indeed.
I'll be right back.
Nice. Fucking blue balled. They're like, well, as we stated earlier, they tend to frequent this inn as well, just not as frequently as us. So maybe a different night at the same table, or possibly over at that table. To be honest, I don't know where they live, but I assume it's within the bounds of this city. Actually, they may not even live within the bounds of the city. They're quite weird, to be honest with you.
Appreciate it, and I'll give him a head nod. I'll walk away.
Yeah, they'll hold up the glass to that. As time goes by, we'll say that this villager is done. They head out. It's getting a bit quieter. Maybe two of the tables are now empty, and still kind of full-blown service. It's not too late, it seems, but it's kind of filling out and emptying, and then kind of filling a bit here and there with some new faces. None of them seem particularly interested in learning about the obvious out-of-place new group, but depending on how long you guys stay here, the brothers continue to drink for the next while.
Congratulations, I have to redo my whole fucking note. I was writing all of this under the Kurskin brothers.
Oh no.
It's okay. This new app I've got makes it super fast, so that's cool.
That's nice.
Sorry, I stepped away for a second, but I'll kind of, I know, Observer, you were yelling at him, I think. Or was that Vemrak? I can't remember.
That was Vimrak.
Sorry,
Was over
Vemrak.
there.
When we get back to the table, Vemrak, I'll say, they may be, and I'll say this very, like, quietly voiced, but, like, they may be a pair of noble buffoons, but if they're connected and we can buy their friendship with drinks, it may be a cheap investment.
I'll just kind of grunt at that. Not too pleased.
Look,
You can tell Vemrak like doesn't really respect anyone that doesn't earn their living, if that makes sense.
We don't have
And
to...
that's very much so the feel that you guys get is they kind of come off as like trust fund babies or something. They've just been living off of someone's money, probably their whole lives.
You don't have to respect people to get use out of them. Which may be a rude thing for a cleric to say, but that's Toto's opinion. I have goals, okay? I will use tools to meet them. I think my character is going to try and find a way to actually bathe, because he probably is incredibly filthy right now. So I'll excuse myself for a bit to go ask Danica if there is, in fact, a warm, cold, hot, or any sort of bath I can use.
Yeah, she says that outside near the entrance where you were at, there's like a bathhouse / like a bathroom, like a whole kind of facility. There's wood outside that you can use to try and heat a pot of water to do so, but it only goes so far. And then she mentions like that staircase outside, so this one here is how you would get up to your rooms as well.
So I'm gonna excuse myself from the group and go try and sort that out, because it takes me a little while to get all this bullshit off.
Yeah, and there's a well here that you can pull water from and use that and do whatever you'd like.
I do those things.
Okay.
Sorry if you mentioned this before, chat, but in the back room that we can see is like slightly ajar.
Oh, which one? Ping it. Oh, yes, that's a kitchen, clearly.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And that's where you see like the two, assuming the two kids, and you see like presumably Danica's husband, sort of just back there, kind of working, cleaning, and tending to the kitchen. So.
God.
And behind the barrels, you see like a drop off, like they're kind of in a raised position here, and there's like a room or like a space behind them as well. Yeah, there's quite a bit of building behind, probably double what you're in now, from what you saw from the outside initially. So.
Should we check out the armament shop? See if there's anything in there worthwhile?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Sure.
Toto, you're staying behind?
Yeah, I guess if I notice them heading out, I'll just give them the bag of holding that has all of our loot in it, so that they have it, because in character, the only thing that would be worth me buying I can't use yet. So, yeah. Or out of character, whatever. I can't wear plate armor, so there's no real reason to change my armor at this point, and I have an enchanted sword.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty squared for a level 5.
Let me see where this place is at. Map. I think it's right next door. Yeah, it basically is. So if you guys take a peek at the game map real quick, I can move you guys over. That is not where I wanted to go. The map of Falaki. So you guys are currently here.
That was a weird
transition.
Do you want
guys still stuck?
Do you want the town? What just happened? Did
yeah,
you?
I wanted the town. I think I did it too quick. Everyone come over. Is the Valaki town map accessible?
I think I
Yeah, it's just in the tab. Yeah.
don't
Okay.
mind my tokens.
Not all the tabs are accessible. You guys just see a handful, right? Or do you
We
see
see
everything?
game map and town of Valaki.
Okay, perfect. Cool.
We don't see the inn if you want us to be able to go back there.
Yeah, I can do that. Figure.
I want to know why it wants me to prepare 10 spells instead of 9.
All right, so you guys are here. This is the inn, right smack dab in the middle. And then right next to it here in this sort of lighter colored roofed building is where you've been told the Thimdol's Armaments is. And if you guys want to go there, I can bring you over. Let me see. So as you guys kind of go right around the corner, you see the telltale signs of a hastily thrown together / sparsely kind of kept up.
I want
I
this
guess
picture. Can you send me
it's
this
pretty
picture?
sick, huh?
I really want it for one of my games.
Yeah,
It's
I can send
perfect.
it over.
Sorry.
I found it. I was stoked.
It's fucking nuts. I love it.
The blacksmith, leatherware, kind of a jack of all trades, if you will. You don't. It's not really like even like a closed area. There's a more. It's open for the most part. Like so, what your guys' visual here from behind is more like an open sort of like a stable almost, if you will. Inside, you see some like younger, like you probably like kids, teenagers, kind of hustling around, picking stuff up, cleaning some stuff. And there's a grizzly old like veteran looking guy who's got an eye patch on, who's kind of working some steel on an anvil kind of later in the day here, just kind of haphazardly working on let's call it like a pretty generic looking sword. He perks up, takes note, and kind of puts the sword down and kind of approaches the group. He's like, well, I don't see a group armed like you guys often. Welcome to my shop. Let me know if I can be of any help. Must be new in town. Jeez. My name's Prim. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Howdy.
He is a vendor. If it's saved correctly, and he should have an inventory you guys can access. Do you guys have that?
I
let
can't
me
click
check.
on them.
I forget. I don't know why it's
Yeah, I
like
can't.
broken. It's just.
Are you using merchant NPC?
I think so.
It's on. There's a bunch of permissions on like the left side of the thing.
But it's like I change him to a merchant, and he just doesn't stay.
Have you updated lately?
Probably not. I think that's the problem.
I was having. Is he a loot shop NPC or a merchant? Because there's two different mods, and I found loot sheet NPC was just like hot trash.
He's a loot sheet NPC.
Yeah, I switched over to merchant NPCs because that seems to at least work.
Oh my gosh. Well, I thought I had them all set up.
Oh, you did, and then it just didn't fucking work because the mod authors abandoned it, I think.
Oh, did they?
I don't know.
Oh,
It
wait.
feels like it. If I don't see updates in like 4 or 5 months, I'll look it up right now since I'm not playing.
Let me try this.
Maybe he's back. He updated it 5 days ago. There's a
Okay, I just
huge
probably just
break.
need to update it. Double click on him and see if it works. Dude, oh, that's so annoying.
Now it works.
It does? Okay, I won't touch it. So, just make sure gold and stuff is leaving and coming and going as you please. He goes, feel free to look around. This is my generic, stock of stuff. I don't make anything super fancy or work on something like that because no one really buys it. But Jesus, with you guys in town, maybe that might change. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, yeah, look around. The shop is not as full as you see it here. On the left side, just kind of cut all that stuff kind of in half. The quality overall looks decent to good. But yeah, I mean, it's a well kept shop overall. Someone's keeping him in business, so even if it's just maybe the local guards or something.
Hey, under the just FYI, under the inventory list, you can see everything, but you can't click on it, and everything is grayed out for like the gold prices and the weight and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's not.
Oh, never mind. Now I can click on them and expand it. Okay.
It's not. It's just not saving as a merchant. It just won't stick as a merchant. So I'll just keep it on this screen. There should be a trade tab, and you can actually like. Do you see that now?
Yep, I see the trade tab.
Okay, I'll just keep it up.
Oh, that was the
I'll
other
say-
thing. Never mind.
I'll say
Can
to
you
the
guys
guy.
all see it now? His inventory and everything.
I can.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I just won't move that that token because I'm afraid it'll reset shit. He looks at you, Vemrak, the most interested so far, and like, looking at anything particular? You seem pretty well armed. That's a mighty fine axe you've got there.
Yeah, thank you. It's seen some action as of late.
I don't doubt that for a second. I don't at all. You kind of, as he says that, he kind of like, grabs his arm a bit just to kind of like maybe roll out like a little bit of some previous battles he's been in, a little bit of a show off, but nothing comes off of this guy as being false. He's definitely weathered, but seems to be knowledgeable overall, and has got some scars to show for himself as well.
You seem like you've been around the block, old man. Tell us about this place.
This shop or the town you find yourself in?
The town. We're new. We're adventurers, if you will.
Yeah, well, I'll take that lightly. I assume you don't want to expand much on adventurers. Most people don't find themselves here for adventure, but
We kill things and we get paid for it.
well, that's maybe not the best town to find yourself in. Out and about, there's plenty of stuff to kill, that's for sure. If you're looking for work, I could kind of put some feelers out and see, but the biggest thing of this town is the politics, like it or not. And his tone drops quite a bit at that. He's like, you got a couple of big family names around here that have been battling for power for what seems like forever. And outside of that, the festivals, and the town's relatively safe and keeps who away for whatever reason you might believe. There's always a debate on that. But in general, people live a relatively normal life here. There's food and there's abundant wine, and there's enough to do. Not a horrible place to be. Better than Barovia or some of the other places, even though they claim to have safety and the like. But if you're really looking for work, I would check back in another day or so. I can ask some of my old acquaintances or people if they've got something outside the walls. Also, the Kurskin brothers are probably the most notorious hunters around here. I think they live outside the walls, the crazy bastards, but they find themselves in the Blue Water Inn a couple nights a week. And they might ask, or they might like some help, or maybe even get some work from them.
Yeah, we've heard of them. We went to the inn, but they weren't there tonight. We met a different set of brothers. Was it the Walter brothers?
Washer.
Washer. The Washer
Well,
brothers. They didn't seem like they were. They sucked. I'm just gonna say it.
At the name of Watcher, you just see his eyes roll back. He's like, "Well, then you've met one of the ruling or battling families in town. The Watchers are an ancient name here, and Those two sons you've met, I'm sure, gave off the clear indication of how much work they've done in their lives and the fact that they've, basically been fighting for control. He gets a bit closer, sizes you up a bit, just says, "Look out for the mother. She's conniving, to say the least. Not saying she's bad, but she's conniving. That's for sure. Worse than others here, hard to say. There's really no good person in this town, well, except for myself, of course."
Of course. You seem like you've seen some action yourself. Where do you hail from?
Well, mostly a local. I found myself, growing up in Barovia being a difficult place. I lived in some towns that don't necessarily exist anymore out in the outskirts whenever society, at least in its current form, wasn't so, pushed into larger places. But I made a name for myself as my father taught me some basics in the place we grew up, and taken that here to basically fund the guards and the ever occasional adventurer that finds themselves here. Most of the steel and most of the armament that the guards are wearing and people use to protect themselves day to day has come from this shop here. So been set up here most of my life. Consider the home and the backside of this place to be the home I grew up in, even though it's not fully the truth, but the one I remember the most of. So that's about as basic as my story gets. I've seen some combat here and there when there were other groups that came through to, kind of hire people for the likes of stuff, but he leaves it at that.
You mentioned that some of the more quote-unquote powerful families are vying for control or vying for power in this town. Aside from the Watcher family, who else exists?
Well, it's the Baron himself. He's been in power for a long time, so he's definitely been winning that. And whenever you're in power, there's always some group that wants it. So that's the typical back and forth. There's other lesser groups here and there, but to be honest, they don't really stand out like those two families. They find themselves going back and forth politically quite often. I'm sure. Let me see. He says, "I'm sure Vargas would kick the entire family out if it wouldn't upset, some large portion of the rest of the town at the same time. And keeping the peace is what he cares about the most, so he won't do it. But I'm sure they're stabbing each other in the back constantly every fucking day to, get some leeway here and there. But who the fuck knows? Honestly, at my old age, I teach my craft as best I can to give someone the same sense of value I've possessed running this shop here, and don't see myself getting in the way of the bat or the groups too much anymore."
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Well, listen, this shop looks great. You definitely have a high quality amount of items that you put out. But to be honest with you, Prim, the things that we're fighting require a little bit, let's just say, a little bit more fine tuning. What have you got in back that you're not displaying to the public? What can you show me?
Well, I can silver any weapon you like. I'm guessing that might be helpful. There's a cost to that, and it takes some time. But if you don't have silvered weapons, which he's looking around and says, "I don't think I see any on you," there's not a lot of stuff just hanging out. I can work on some stuff or pull some strings to see if there's anything I've got, but off the top of my head, I'm sorry, there's just not a market for anything super fancy around here typically.
What do silver weapons do?
Silver weapons would allow. Wow, I should probably know that off the top of my head.
Some monsters are vulnerable to silvered weapons in specific. It's like the tier below magic weapons. So
Gotcha.
like werewolves and were creatures and lots of other things are vulnerable to silvered weapons. Or not vulnerable, but like it's
Vulnerable is the right word. It's a
well,
vulnerability to silver.
there's vulnerability, and then there's also like creatures that are resistant to normal damage but not silvered.
Not silvered.
So it's part of like the progression of how monsters mitigate damage. If that makes any sense.
Gotcha. Do you have any of those silver weapons available for sale, or is that a special order only type of deal?
I typically just silver whatever comes in. If you've got the silver, I can just do it to your weapons themselves if you like what you've got. If you want me to make something specifically for you, I can do that as well. I don't keep a huge stock of it just because most people don't leave the walls. But you know, the brothers, the hunters, the Christian brothers keep me in business here and there. But again, mostly it's just run of the mill stuff to keep other humans, if you will, no offense, in line, as opposed to creatures that would be susceptible to such silvering.
Any idea, like, would Vemrak know, like, how much silver would take and what the relative cost of that would be?
Yeah, let me look into that. I'll assume that you know it. We'll say it's something that would take some time either way, so you guys can make the decision now, like if you want him to do it tomorrow or if you're trying to go somewhere in the next day. Just assume it would take like, you know, a half day or something at least for it to be done. But the cost I have to look up. I forgot to. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Prim, that sounds like something I might be interested in, especially given the fact that there's werewolves about and proudly posted with their heads outside these walls.
So the party does have one silvered short sword, just so you guys know.
Is someone using that? I thought.
I was until I got the +1 scimitar.
It's about 100 gold. It's 100 gold by default to silver a weapon or 10 pieces of ammunition.
And it's just a process, like it just like adds on, like
Yeah.
makes a regular.
You coat it in
Yeah.
silver.
Basically, yep.
Oh shit, scale mail's medium armor? I definitely have to buy that.
Oh shit! I closed it. You guys, did I just fuck everything up?
Toto,
No,
would
I
you
still see stuff?
All right.
So Toto, you're no longer using the silvered sword. Would you? Not that you're in the shop with me, but
It's in the bag of holding. Like I threw it back in because if you look at the party loot, there's a ton of stuff in there.
Would you be okay if like parting with it?
Oh yeah, like a +1 weapon is in every way better because like +1 supersedes silvered outside of really rare circumstances. So yeah, and I mean honestly,
How do I see the party loot?
there's a under the character tab or the actors directory. It's the third icon over on the top of the right side of the screen. There's a party, and if you look at the inventory in that party, that's where I've been dumping everything we get.
Perfect. I see that. Okay.
So like,
Oh,
it's also worth noting that like Toto's not great at melee. Like he's not bad at it, but it's not what he's best at. So if somebody else can actually use the +1 scimitar to actually like hit things, it might be worth looking at that later. Just because Toto kind of sucks at just hitting things. He's a cleric, not a paladin. Anyway.
So I'll pull out the short sword that's silvered from the bag of holding and present it to Prim and say, would you be able to melt this down for its silver and add this on to, let's say, a great axe or a great sword?
He goes, yeah. I mean, if you don't have the raw, it takes a bit more time. There's not a ton on that. It's a short sword, so I hate to bust your balls, but probably not enough to however that huge axe you've got. But I mean, that would definitely remove from the cost a bit if you wanted to take that into account. But after that, most of that sword is just going to go to waste. So if it's 100 gold to do it, I'd say maybe that cuts off about 20's worth, and we'll give you 30. You guys seem like you might bring more business later, and hell, I'm not doing much in the next couple of days, so the guards have got their orders in for the month, and we're caught up. So,
Where can I acquire more silver?
well, you can buy it from me. I've got some, probably enough to silver what you'd like, but it just is included in that cost overall of the 100 gold. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Shatner, I just realized, because I didn't read this before, proficiency for armor for druids are medium armor and light armor and shields. Druids will not wear armor or use shields made of metal.
Oh, interesting.
I did not realize that, and I think my chain shirt counts as being made of metal.
Yes.
So I'm gonna buy the studded leather armor and just go down 1 AC.
Okay.
I think I can use the metal one, can't I?
Which one?
Probably medium armor, chain shirt.
Yeah, I think so.
So if I loot this, how do I buy stuff on this?
You have to go to the trade tab and find it and drag it from one side to the other.
Oh, okay. Into buy. Wait, buys. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, you double click it. You don't drag it.
Doesn't do anything for me.
For studded, what are you trying to get? The studded one?
Yeah.
It may just be glitched overall. I would just remove the gold, and you can just grab it from the database or try and grab it from him. But this is not working as intended.
Okay, yeah, I could just drag it in my inventory.
Okay.
I'll just remove 45 gold.
Okay.
1 minus 45.
Chat, yell at me to finish my fucking mod at some point.
Finish your fucking mod.
All right, so I'll say to Prim, yeah, if you've got the materials, I'll give you the short sword, and if you could fix me up a silver great sword, I would appreciate that. Let me know the cost, and be happy to pick that up in a day or so, whenever it's finished.
Sure. Yeah. So you want to buy a different weapon and then have it silvered and use it from...
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't want to give up my axe to... You know what I mean? Because I'd be out of an axe.
Gotcha. How much gold do you have?
We have over 3,000 in the party loot.
Okay. Because the great sword cost is 50, and then it'd be 100 to silver it, minus the 30. So you're looking at like 120.
Okay.
You wouldn't happen to have any
Do
quarters.
you guys mind if I
paths?
take 120 from the party loot?
Oh, go right ahead.
Like
go
all.
for
The only thing we have to spend money on is gear, probably. And bribing people.
Yeah.
So.
And starting our merchant empire whenever we decide to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just took it away from the party loot chat.
Okay.
And I'll delete the silvered short sword out of there too.
Yep.
Okay.
I got a question. When it comes to silvered weapons, is a magical weapon better than a silver
Yes.
weapon, or are they like the same?
Yes.
Okay. So it wouldn't matter to me at all because I can just la my weapons and turn them into magic damage.
Yeah. So
And I wouldn't
magic.
get any bonus from silver.
Yeah, like. Do you want my little rant about magic weapons, Shatner?
That's fine.
So magic weapons roughly double your damage, especially in levels 5 through 10, because a lot of the monsters you fight are resistant to non-magical damage, but don't care about silvered outside of like edge cases. So magic weapons like +1, +2, well, +1 is like it's a no-brainer. If you can get a +1 weapon, take it. So if Shillelagh gives you a +1, fucking do it.
It doesn't give that to me. It just makes my damage magic and adds more damage on top.
Yeah, so
That's
that'll
good.
like there's a ton is a little metagamey, but like making damage magical is huge. It more than doubles your damage. It's like your damage doubled plus your strength bonus.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was
It's
silver would add anything onto it.
Yeah, like silvered will impact only enemies that say, like, you know, that have that particular set of bullshit. But like, yeah, always go for magic over anything else because it's just so broadly useful. It's a game design thing I wish I understood before I ran my first 5e campaign.
And
Also,
knowing
for
that,
anyone curious-
I'll ask Prim if he knows of anyone that has those sort of abilities, either in town, out of town, or whatever.
I'm sorry, I was reading. What sort of abilities?
Anyone who could magically enchant weapons, or who dabbles in magic.
He mentions there's a few shops that dabble in magic. There's an apothecary called the Third Eye Potions and Sundries, but doesn't really seem to have much faith in the shop overall. He mentions that it's been kind of pushed to the edge of town just because it's seen as kind of an eyesore by Vargas and sort of a not a consistent product, if you will. And then he also mentions that there is an herbalist. It's called Jenny's Shack in town. But in terms of plus oneing or making weapons magical, he says that the only thing he can think of is he has some trading that he can do with the Fasanti camp outside of town, or if the Fasanti outside of town may have those things as well. Like, he seems pretty confident that if you like know what you're looking for, you can probably get it. Just might take some time. But most of he basically admits that like most of his trading is going to be like the couple of people he knows that are in the other towns, or the Vasanti that can freely travel in and out of this world, and get things. So
okay, so I'll ask Prim for what would it cost to not only silver that great sword, but also to magically enchant it.
let's see.
About to go down a dark path, sir.
It's gonna get expensive real quick.
Magic
I think we
items.
killed the mini boss we weren't supposed to and got 3,000 gold earlier in the game. I mean, considering I'm like only a melee damage dealer, like I think having a magic weapon is probably important based on what you said, Grim.
Yeah, like I think we're at the tier of the game where there's this combination of basically how powerful Shatner wants us to be. There's also an issue that magic item prices in 5th edition don't make any fucking sense, so I highly recommend you look up sane magic prices, or I can send you my crazy homebrew system where I actually made consistent magical prices in crafting that nobody really
It's called
used.
Sing Mad.
It's, yeah. D&D 5e, the balance of the game is designed to assume that you don't get magic items. But then they negate that in one of the books. Because why not? Sorry, I have to stop having, like, game design corner over here.
It's not what I do all day, so it's fine.
Worst fucking backseat DM ever. That's me.
No, that's me. 'Cause I don't even DM, but I still do it.
I was going to plus one weapons around 1,000.
1,000? Okay.
Yeah. So Prim says it'll take some time, but the total cost to get it all done with the silver and then buy the sword, he's like, just I say about 1,200.
Okay.
That you want to do that now, or maybe think on it?
Well, not all of our adventuring party is here. I have to consult with them before I take more
Sure,
funds.
sure, I understand. It's rough. I mean, the Visanti have access to technically more than I do, but they don't always bargain the same way. And I've gone through them for decades, so they kind of give me a little bit of a cut that they may not give a stranger. But hey, we've only just met as well, so do your shopping. I understand.
And roughly how long would that take? Just a guesstimate.
I can. You know what I'll do? I'll send I'll send one of my workers over there tonight or tomorrow morning when it's safest, and just see what their inventory is. I haven't asked them in a while. I need an update anyway, so I'll see if they've got one. Then obviously it's there. The odds of that are, I don't know, roll a dice. But if they don't have it, it just depends on their schedule. From what I've found for things that are pricey, like what you're buying. They're typically a little more incentivized to kind of get on it. But I would say at the very least, it's going to take maybe 4 days. At the most, who knows?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if they have a great axe or a great sword, preferably great axe, that'd be what I'm
Okay.
looking.
Yeah, and he's like he has like a leather like notepad. He's got a kind of pops out of one of the pockets in the belt he's wearing. He's kind of jotting down some notes and stuff. And he's like, any customizations on it if they're gonna have to look for it or find it? I can do some basic work too.
Yeah, if you could engrave the head of a bear somewhere on the axe, that'd be preferred.
All right. So I'll see what they've got. If you want to check back whenever you can, but I won't know until probably afternoon tomorrow. Just so you know if they've got anything. But I wouldn't hold my breath that they've got it, and even if they do, I'd have to silver it still. So if it, at most it'd be at least it'd be a day. So
All right, we'll come back then.
yeah, absolutely. You know where I'm at. I'm guessing you're just staying next door, so we're practically neighbors now. So welcome. Anyone else have any interest here?
Unless he's got a +1 quarterstaff laying around somewhere.
Not laying around. Kind of be in the similar group as the other +1. He's like, you want me to have him look for a +1 staff as well?
Yeah, if they've got a +1 quarterstaff, I'm all about that shit.
+1 bow too.
He's like, +1's all around. He's like, I'll take a look and see what they've got. Prices will be about the same, but I'll do my best. Is everyone interested in silvering as well? He's like, I'm not the bow, of course, but I'll just see what they've got and you guys check back in. Just like I said, give me till afternoon tomorrow and we can go from there.
So, at this point, it's getting pretty late, right? Do we just want to head back and sleep for the night? Or do you guys want to do anything else?
I'm good with whatever.
I'm good. I'm good for the night.
Cool. Then we can set up for the our quest tomorrow.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So I guess let's head back to place.
Yeah, can we take a quick break? I need to use the restroom.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll be right back.
Siri, you back yet?
I'm back, yeah. I've been back.
Sterling, you back? It's negative. Alright, chat, can I just sell my leather armor?
Yeah, 8 gold.
Okay, I'm just gonna delete it and I'll put 8 gold in. You want to just move us back to the tavern? I mean, Sterling already heard what we were planning on doing.
Yeah.
At this point, Toto is probably a clean boy.
There's supposed to be a door here?
I'm back.
Oh, that's right. Welcome back. We're going back to the inn. Which room did we get?
Ah.
Whichever you guys want. There's a room at the end of the hall that can sleep all 4 of you. Or you guys can take the 2 single, or the 2 rooms with 2 beds.
Whoa. Whoa, I just jumped out a window and fell.
And Toto died.
And you die. Oh, okay, so there's only 2. Okay, there's only the 3 rooms on this side.
Yeah, we can just take the 4-1. I don't have to take a bed, though. So, if Femrak wants to put 2 together, he can.
I'll just take a single. That's fine.
And during part of my rest, I'm going to undon my chain shirt and redon the set of leather armor that I should have been wearing this whole time.
Sorry, what time is it?
We're going to bed.
Okay.
So I'm going to move the chain shirt into the party loot. And Royce, you can take it
Okay, cool.
as soon as I figure out where party loot is. There it is.
So for the first 4 hours, I'm gonna go out and collect like sprigs of spruce and shit like that for a spell component I need.
Okay. I think it's 6 hours and 2 hours. You have 2 hours to kind of fuck around, just rest, and then you gotta sleep for 6. But that's no problem.
The elf thing has.
Oh, it's less for you?
Yeah, I only need 4.
Oh, cool. Oh, rad. Okay, yeah. Anything you want to do while you're out and about in town? Or, like, you got 4 hours, you want to just meander around, or you want to go somewhere specific?
I mean, I don't want to take up everybody's time by just going out and doing shit.
It's up to you.
Go for it, man.
Yeah, everyone else has done something fucking random. I feel like you've just been sitting, so...
I mean, I'll just cruise around town, see what I see.
Okay, why don't you, do it on the map, and then, just use that token where you want to go. I'll just kind of give arbitrary amount of time, and if you find anything, I'll just kind of read it out.
So I just kind of want to cruise around like the main. Is this the main strip right here?
Yeah, the main strip, and directly south of you down the smaller road, towards this area here, seems to be like the town square, though. And you noticed that when you first came in, there's a lot of kind of commotion and just in general stuff going on down there. It seemed.
Okay, so I'll just kind of like try to stay out of the like keep in the shadows and stuff, and just kind of loop through the main area here, and then come back around to to this main central area, and just take notice of anything that stands out. Maybe like any guard patrols and stuff, and
yeah. So the guard patrols are pretty consistent overall. You see quite a few guards. You know what you're wearing. Describe what you're wearing by default, typically. You get a feel for how much you stand out or don't.
I don't know. Is that something that I've picked, or like
Yeah.
I was assuming just
Yeah.
what's in my character picture? Just
I mean,
hooded
what do you
cloak
want your
and
default? What do you want? Yeah, it's completely up to you. I mean, outside of like I'm covered in gold or I bedazzled my bow.
yeah, just totally nondescript, typical, just ranger clothes, hooded cloak, and traveling clothes,
Okay,
and
so you think you consider yourself like relatively blend in
oh
overall?
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so yeah, you have no problem kind of feeling, like the eyes aren't on you, like you're stomping around with the orc, or with the cleric or with the robot.
You know what? I'll just. Well, I guess I don't have any of the components yet for it. I don't. Will you let me just cast pass without trace and just stealth as I'm going around?
Post it, because stealth by default is against everyone that could see you. So there's countless people that could see you, but I want to see. I'm not sure what stealth without trace means.
No, pass without a trace just increases my roll for stealth.
Yeah, I wouldn't focus on that so much. Like you have no problem blending in,
Okay.
just in general. Why don't you roll? I'll have you roll like one. Let me see here. Why don't you roll? Would it be? Why don't you just roll like a deception?
A deception. Where do I find that?
It's a skill. I'm not sure we've ever rolled it yet. Maybe once.
There you go.
Cool.
There's your
So you're
deception.
relatively of the right mind to be able to not draw attention to yourself. You're not doing anything crazy. So,
Cool.
yeah, you're pretty confident that you are not standing out. So go ahead and physically just move the token. You should have control of that token. Yeah. So you head down there. In general, the streets are relatively busy. At any point in time, you're within arm's reach of maybe 3 to 4 people. If you were to just kind of jump back and forth a bit, so there's always within eyesight maybe 10 plus people just on the general area. For the most part, it looks like not every home is occupied. A lot of them seem to be relatively run down, but compared to Barovia and then the outskirts as well, if you had to guess from just maybe the street that you kind of go down here initially, you would say that maybe 80% of them were full, maybe 90. There's still every couple definitely looks empty, but who knows. As you get down here, you do notice this larger building stands out. It's very obviously a church. Let me just read the general description of that. This slouching, centuries-old stone church has a bulging steeple in the back and the walls lined with caked, stained glass windows depicting saints. A fence of wrought iron encloses a garden of gravestones next to the church. A thin mist creeps amongst the graves. So, slouching church. There are some people going in and out of it. A surprising amount for the time. Roll a perception check for me.
Is that under skills again?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Nope. I did not mean to.
It's alright. I'll just take a middle ground of it. It looks like there's a lot of people doing like a nightly prayer, maybe like they're with their families. It's getting darker. It seems a bit odd considering like in Barovia, the streets would be relatively empty because there was no walls and maybe a lot less safe overall. But the church kind of has like some maybe a nightly service is going on. Not a lot of like hoopla about it. There's not a lot of, you don't hear music or anything or bells, but there's quite a few people kind of passing and going from the church and kind of like scurrying back down the road towards where you are coming from. You want to head down this way, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so you kind of get here. You can see clearly now. There's a gate. There's multiple gates, it seems, around different parts. This is one that kind of heads into the woods, as you can kind of start to see in the distance with your like really good eyesight. Others, as it's getting darker, probably couldn't tell. But you get to the crossroads here. You recognize the smith to the north, and you head down. In doing so, you're gonna pass by. Let me see. This mansion has walls of plastered stone that display many scars where the plaster has fallen away from age and neglect. Drapes cover every window, including a large arched opening above the mansion's double entrance door. Coming and going here, it's actually quite busy as well. We'll say with your previous perception check, you're pretty confident that this is um, the mayor's house, if you will. How do you say it? Is it Burgomaster, Burgomeister, Burrowmaster?
I think
What is
depending
what
on
is the fucking?
I think Burgomaster.
Okay.
I mean, just
It is
pick
the.
one and then you're good.
I'm gonna change it every time. This is the master's house, if you will. You get that by the probably overstated amount of flyers that are posted. Plus, you're referring to your previous knowledge from the guards up front that said that sticks were required, and you see heaps of sticks kind of thrown around and piled up around the front of this location, and people are dropping them off even as you sort of come around and see that. Did you want to investigate any further, or just kind of take note of that?
They're doing what with sticks?
They're piling them up. They're kind of collecting them, if you will. It looks like people are kind of sending them there as offerings. So, I'm not sure how much you're paying attention in the, like in character in the Blue Water, but I assume you're kind of eavesdropping on the brothers when they were talking. But they had mentioned that like to get on the Burrowmaster's side, the like piles of sticks, the collecting of sticks would be useful.
Okay.
And so you're kind of seeing that in action here.
Yeah. So I want to take a look at that closer. Just observe what's going on.
Okay. Let me see here. You can see inside of this mansion. It says framed portraits adorn the walls of this grand foyer, which features a wide staircase with a sculpted railing. A long carpeted hall attached to the foyer stretches almost the length of the mansion, from what you can tell, and has several doors leading away from it, including one to the far end. Bundles of twigs are heaped against the walls and outside as well. So you can just kind of peer down from the street kind of into this large home and just see that from the street level. You don't see anyone of note that stands out, but there's people coming and going. There's talking. There's maybe a tea time or a dinner happening on the first floor. If you want to take more of a look, you let me know kind of what you're up to, what you want to do.
Yeah. No, that's good. Let's keep going. So like the main parts of interest is just the Smiths, and then the church and the mansion so far.
Yeah. Do you want to continue kind of going towards the mansion?
No, like
just continue down the road.
Yep.
Okay. So let me check this, as it has been a while. Okay. So you are sort of greeted by it's clearly a town square. There's 1, 2, 4 kind of roads or paths that go into this area. And what you see kind of takes you back very nonchalantly. against the kind of southern part of this town square, so like pinging this area here. You see this small shops and homes enclose a town square that's decorated with limp, tattered garlands and painted wooden boxes filled with tiny dead flowers. At the north end of the square, at the south end of the square, stands a row of stocks, locked in which are several men, women, and children wearing crude, plastered donkey heads. In the center of the square, peasants in patchwork clothes are going back and forth with cups of water and vases to draw water from a crumbling stone fountain. Standing tall at the center of the fountain is a gray statue of an impressive man facing west. All around the square are posted proclamations. Come one, come all, to the greatest celebration of the year, the Wolf's Head Jamboree. Attendants and children required. Pikes will be provided. All will be well. The Baron.
Okay.
Anything you want to do there?
So it seems like people are getting ready for the festival thing that we have.
So the festival you notice is the old one. It looks like the festival's done. The pikes and heads that you saw at the beginning of the town. This is the last week's festival, if you will. However, no one's here celebrating, but there's kids, women, and children in stocks with donkey heads on. So stocks are like those old school.
Yeah, like handcuffed. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just stuck in those, and then there's kind of people kind of going throughout their day, and then it's just getting late. But there's people being punished for something in the center of this town square.
Okay. All right. Tell me about the donkey stocks, Shatner. What's going on there?
What do you mean?
Well, it's a little weird, right? So yeah, I would look into that further.
What do you want to do?
So it's a town square, and they're just where are they posted at? Are they out in front of like a main building or what?
There's kind of like a raised stage, which you'd assume is like the central point of like maybe the festivals that happen. And then at the north end of this, I'll move the token to ping. At the north end here are some stocks, and there's townsfolk in them actively. There's nothing going on around them outside of just people kind of closing up shop, maybe wrapping up their day. But there's people clearly being punished, possibly overnight, and for whatever reason, they seem to have some crude sort of plaster donkey heads on.
All right. So you said there's people closing up shops and stuff. I'll go up to one of the people that's closing up and just kind of ask them about, what's the deal with this?
What are you saying? What's the deal with?
Yeah. What's going on with the people chained up like that?
So there's a woman that's sort of closing up a little maybe bakery shop that she has, very small. And she kind of looks up and she's concerned, and she's look on her face is quizzical, and she's like, well, they broke the rules, so that's what has to happen, right? And she kind of says that as if she's maybe being tested or quizzed by you.
So that's the judgment for any wrongdoing in this town.
Well, that's one way. Did you come for pastries? I prefer not to talk about the legal issues those people have found themselves in. If you don't mind, or if you can understand that.
Certainly. And I'll bid her a good evening and go about my day.
Yes, please stop by any time. Have a great night. All will be well. She kind of reiterates the now sort of becoming infamous Baron saying.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I will take note of the donkey stocks and just keep going along here and loop back. At some point, I don't know if I need to go outside or if I can go outside of the town walls, but I need sprigs of spruce.
Okay, there's trees here and there. So I'll
Okay.
say even right here, as you're kind of in the town square, you can see this sort of central area here. There's no issue. You can grab those sprigs from those areas. You find
This is where everybody's gathering and offering this.
right. No, it's more of like just a central place. It's not. There's really no one here that you can tell. You can grab what you
Okay.
need from there.
All right,
Did you want to head? No, which path did you want to take? Left, middle, right?
let's go to the right.
To the right. So you kind of go through, and then you're right back to kind of where you guys entered. So you notice the stockyard here. Kind of, it was like a storage area. There was a carnival wagon that was noticed, and then seems like a place for people to kind of store their, almost like a junkyard, if you will, in this area here. And then, yeah, it's up to you.
Cool. Yeah. No, I'm pretty good.
Okay. Just back for the night then.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else want to do anything before morning? No. Morning it is. You guys sleep well, all things considered. I love how perfectly your token fits in the bed, Toto. Oh my god. That's hilarious. That's so funny. We'll see.
I do long rest then.
Then Max got his ass up here too. There we go.
I think I leveled
Um,
up, so I'm good on the long rest. I will be back in like a minute.
Just forget where the fucking button is.
Yeah, you guys have no issue getting a long rest. The walls are sturdy. You can kind of hear the muffled sound of maybe some partying downstairs, but that mellows out as the night goes on, and it gets very quiet and probably the most peaceful moment you guys have witnessed since being in this land, for sure. A nice, warm, well-kept room, and a place to call your own with a door. Which is unique to your guys' situation overall.
Bryce, did you equip the new armor?
Oh, I was doing that and then I went on my little meander there.
Hello?
Yo.
Did we? What happened?
We went to
Christ,
sleep.
Christ been exploring. Saw some stuff. Toto AFK'd. Now we're waking up. And Mike died and came back, so I may have missed something. Anyone want to do anything particular in the morning? If not, it's all you guys. I might dead again. I'm back.
Read this. Oh, ready to head out?
Yep.
Alright, You guys heading to the winery, the vineyard?
Yep.
All right. You guys head out to the west. I'll move you guys here. You guys head this way. Head down. Head down. And you guys make it here. What you're used to on the road, you guys are hit with the occasional howling of wolves in the distance. Nothing seems terribly close. Oh, I can stop here. You do see a small lake to the north here. Let me...
Do we want pass without a trace? Should we try to be stealth as a group right now?
Can you say that again?
I said, do we want pass without a trace? Should we be stealth as a group right now?
Probably doesn't matter at this point.
How long does that last?
I think up to an hour.
Yeah, I wouldn't get us very far. How far this way this is?
Yeah, you're traveling miles right now. So to the north here, you see a small lake in the distance, and there seems to be a dilapidated tower, if you will, that's kind of hunched up against that lake. Are you guys staying the course?
You guys want to check it out?
Do we have a wizard tower thing? Let me... Sorry, I'm just checking our tarots. Not sure. Did we ever figure out where the abbey was?
No. No one's asked about it either.
Okay.
At least from what I remember.
A mountainside abbey somewhere. But you said that was like a wizard tower?
My mic is really laying it on me. Sorry. It died again. I heard Mountainside Abbey. I don't know what happened to that.
No, so that that structure in that little like outcropping, what does that look like?
Ping it. Where the Raven's at. That is a old, abandoned looking tower, but it's very far in the distance at this point. You're not going to get a ton of detail from the main road here. You can just kind of barely make it out through the mist and the fog. It's kind of like a just some type of structure that seems a bit slouched or hunched over.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting, but I'm not sure if I would care about it too much right now.
Up to you guys. Siri.
Them indifferent.
Yeah, I'm easy.
Focus on the task at hand.
Sure.
Okay. You guys head down and make it to this crossroads here. I think I have something to read here. Yes, give me 1 second. Just something real basic. So, it says, you see a weather-worn signpost next to the road. The three arms of the signpost point along the three branches of the road. You find yourself in the crossroads of currently. The arm pointing north reads Kreesk. And through the woods you can see an arching stone bridge spanning a river. So it's going to be north of where you guys are now. The arm pointing towards the east where you came says Valaki, and then the road slopes up gradually in that direction. So you guys have just come downhill a bit. And then the arm pointing southwest of where you are currently reads the Wizard of Wines. and the road slopes gently downwards in that direction.
Sorry, you said what was the Kreesk? Village of Kreesk?
Yes,
In which direction?
to the north.
I can see something that says Abbey right now. I don't know
Oh,
if
maybe
that's-
someone did point it out. Obviously. I don't remember who, but whoever's taking notes must have heard that.
I don't
Yeah.
think we weren't. We were told that Irina had mentioned the village of Kreese, which was related to the Abbey card, ancient
Okay.
Abbey from the time when the devil was originally in this land.
Okay, so it was brought up. That was my bad. So someone labeled it as such, so she knew where it was. So yes, those things would correlate. You would assume it's down that road.
I guess I'm thinking we could maybe sort out this wine shipment and then either go to the Abbey on the way back or maybe finish the wine and then go to the Abbey. Because that's one of our tarot cards, I think.
I mean, should we try to do the quests that we're on first? Or doing other things?
Yeah, no, that was like, yeah. Like, yes.
Alright, then we
You guys
continue on.
You fuckers are making me flip through this book at like an alarming rate right now. Sitting here pending decisions.
You should just prep everything in the entire book and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, what's the big deal?
Look, you decided
I'm
to
looking at
run.
the tower in the distance. There's a lake. There's a fucking abbey. There's a bridge. I'm like flipping through
Like,
this like
shit, I didn't prep
200
any of
page
this.
book. I've actually, I'm overly, averagely prepared for both of those.
Averagely prepared, so like you skimmed
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Just
no,
skimmed
I've read
the
it
time.
fully, but there's a lot involved in one versus the other, and so it would be something I definitely would want to reread before. But that's also the beauty of Foundry is that everything's technically already set up. It's just a matter of like what the fuck.
I would like to go to Castle Ravenloft if you don't mind.
Oh, look at that! We would have to call for sure. That's like 70 pages of the 200 in this book. So, okay,
Let's just go back to Barovia. We know a lot about that already.
that's fine. Go make me think of the chaos that you guys left in that place. Okay, so you guys are heading down the hill now towards what is being formally referred to as the wine place. After about a half mile off of let me see. After about a half mile, the road becomes a muddy trail that meanders through the woods, descending gradually until the trees part, revealing a mist-shrouded meadow, which you guys kind of find yourself looking at now. The trail splits. One branch heads west into the valley, the other leads south into dark woods beyond. A wooded signpost at this intersection points west and reads Vineyard.
Is it Vineyard Vines or just Vineyard?
Vineyard.
Okay, good. No annoying polo shirts here. Okay.
How far away did it say we are?
You're miles from the crossroads at the bridge, but you'd have to assume that this is relatively accurate, like a mile and a half out from the vineyard.
How big is the hex on this map?
I think it's a quarter, or
0.25 miles.
I think it's fucked up though, because it shouldn't be. Let me see what the legend over here says somewhere. 1 square is a quarter mile.
Yep.
Oh, it is correct. Okay. So you're about a mile out.
They don't actually line up properly.
No. And they used to count conveniently, but for whatever reason, they just stopped doing that. So.
So, said there was an issue with the wine, so do like a perception check and see if there's like any signs of hostility.
From this distance, sure.
That would be, need to select my character. How do I select my character at this point? Oh, I guess I just go to my character sheet. Perception, normal.
It's very quiet. It's very dark, and you might suspect that there would be a fire going at this place, considering the time of day, but there is not.
What time of day is it right now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Disregard. But even you would assume that most civilization or most civilized places would have a fire going, just considering the temperature. So it's still, let's just say it's afternoon at this point. It's taking you guys the morning to get here, or just we'll say it's 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. You guys fine with that? I don't know what time you guys wanted to wake up, but
Sure.
Morning,
Okay.
usually.
So perfect. It's early. It's late morning, but there's no immediate signs of the area being inhabited, if you will, which does stand out a bit.
Yeah, be like, guys, we should be on guard. It seems odd. And I guess we approach carefully.
Are there any signs of fresh wagon ruts in the road or anything like that?
Where you are now, fresh. Roll investigation.
Okay.
Investigation is the same bonus as perception, right?
Not necessarily. So,
Isn't
like,
it the
I
same?
have a bonus to perception. No, perception is wisdom, investigation is intelligence.
Okay.
For me, the
Just roll
difference is a +8 or a -1.
I'm guessing perception is higher.
Yep.
Yeah, roll perception. That's fine. I think investigation is better used once you've you're
I
on something, figuring it out.
Here's your high roll for me, right?
You're confident, even with the light rain that's starting to come back, that there's nothing fresh in this area except for the steps that you guys are leaving.
Okay. So, no sign of that wagon load of booze coming out of the vineyard.
So let's keep on getting closer.
Okay. I'll move you guys 1 hex, and then I'll move you to the old tried and true. You have to just imagine some of the things that are going to be described here as they're not physically here, but I think
Excuse
this place...
me, Shatner, I thought we were
It's
in
okay.
a vineyard and meadow.
I know, but...
Go to
you can
Reddit!
make-
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. A light drizzle begins to fall. Unpainted fences blindly follow the trail, which skirts north of a sprawling vineyard before bending south towards a stately building. The fog takes on ghostly forms as it swirls between the neatly tended rows of grapevines. Here and there, you see rope-handled half-barrels used for hauling grapes. North of the trail is a large stand of trees. A man now walks out from those trees, standing in your path, wearing a dark cloak and a cowl, beckoning towards you at the edge of the trees, seemingly trying to stay hidden as well.
So we'll approach.
Okay, you guys are free to move here. As you guys move forward, he moves forward and then kind of crouches and gets kind of closer to the edge here, trying to just stay as sort of low as he can, but definitely trying to make himself known. As you get closer and closer, he's well dressed for the current situation, it seems. He's mostly covered. He looks very close to Royce's getup overall. As you guys are sort of with Femrak steps
Just
on.
gonna go hug him.
Let me see. You see, it's a man probably in his 40s. Kind of puts a hand out in sort of a general like hello statement. He goes, "Sorry to possibly scare you there, travelers, but I'm afraid there's danger up ahead. I wouldn't go any further if I were you."
Kind of danger.
From what we know, druids and blights and basically forest folk is what they're called around here for the most part. They take many names, but the uncivilized, if you will, that have found themselves living in the forests in Strahd's land.
Find that offensive.
Sorry, traveler, if you do, but that's just what they're referred to as here. I mean no offense.
And who are you?
Well, I am the family that previously inhabited the winery you can see up there. We're currently kind of held up in the woods here, and he kind of nods back behind him, and down past this rock, kind of in this area. We've come under hard times here, as for whatever reason, the forest folk have basically declared all-out war on us, and me being one of the best fighters we have was not able to fend off a small army of evil, if you will. So we're kind of stuck out here now, as it seems.
Are you the wizard?
No, that's my father, Davin. Sorry, never introduced myself. My name is Adrian.
Well, lucky for you, we're here to help.
Yes, it seems like fate may have brought us here. What brings you to these parts? I must ask. Seems rather convenient timing.
Oh, a quest to find the wine that has stopped showing up at Valaki.
Might I ask which part of Valaki sent you?
The owner, I think the owner, the bartender.
Danica of the Blue Water Inn.
He finishes the name before you can finish it. He goes, yes. Did they tell you that we're related? Flesh and blood there. I'm surprised they sent you without making that comment known, but there's a bit of bad blood, which is a story for another day, but at least Danica is on speaking terms enough with outsiders to try and give us some help that can't be said for the rest of the family. So if you don't mind keeping that amongst yourselves, knowing that Erwin sent you guys basically, but Erwin's my brother and that's my sister-in-law. So yes, but to the matter of hand, have you been promised some type of payment, or you've come to fight, I assume?
Yeah, we were promised gold and lodgings. And yeah, we're here to fight.
Okay, well, why don't you come back and meet the group? He kind of starts to walk back into the woods, the most perceptive of you, so Royce for sure and others can kind of start to make out some figures sort of crowded in the woods here. Multiple children, there's 4 children and 2 other adults, a mother, and then a kind of a old man on a cane, if you will, comes kind of walking out. He's an old weathered face, kind of a grim look on his across it, as well as he's trying to whisper something to presumably his son. Anyone trying to hear that?
I'll just do a perception just to see if I do hear it.
Yeah, you're pretty close. You get a couple words of like, we don't need outside help, or how can we trust these people? Before he kind of looks up and sizes you up. Observer being the closest, and just kind of looks up and down and goes, what are you supposed to do?
Let's see. What spells do I have?
As Vimrak approaches, his sort of glare, if you will, turns into more of a smile and goes, now that's a warrior. He looks like he could be of some help for sure. Tries to stand up fully, but you can see he kind of leans back on his cane.
So you're a man with good taste.
Yes.
Will kind of embrace the compliment.
He says, mostly in wine, I must say, but combat not as much, but it's not hard to tell that you've been on the receiving end of a lot of punishment, and you're still standing, so that's something to be said. I don't know what my son here has told you, as he's kind of speaking up now to the group, but we found ourselves on being fully attacked by the evil that lives in these woods. I fear that you're here because of fate, or possibly for my son who lives in Valaki. But either way, we'll take the help. Please come get in the cover of the forest if you don't mind, just to try and keep as much secrecy as we do have. I mean, they obviously know we're out here somewhere, but they don't know exactly where we are.
I like that he sees a 6'2", 286-pound robot
Okay, well,
and thinks that I'm.
I didn't know you were 6'2".
Like, yeah, brah, get in here. Fuck shit up. No.
I mean, to be fair, anyone sitting next to a 7-footer looks small by comparison, so
yeah,
it's not your fault.
Oh, I'm only
Chris
6
Paul.
foot and 200 pounds.
yikes.
Yeah, but what does your Tinder profile say, bro? You're really like
69. So he
Wait a
pulls you
minute.
guys
Wait
in.
a minute. The Watcher
Yes.
brothers are here?
What?
The Watcher brothers are here?
You're reusing icons.
Oh, fuck off.
didn't know you had a pair of cunts for son.
They're all fucking drunk.
Jeez.
They're like, we got you again.
Bro.
The Watcher brothers and the single female and the kid from the orphanage.
I swear to God, I'm getting
The,
some Children of the Corn vibes out of this shit, guys. Come on.
Right.
What are we doing here?
Exactly, Children of the Vines.
Oh,
Simulations breaking down.
Like Nicolas Cage, Children of the Corn?
Of course.
The
So
beast.
Davin speaks up now as it starts to rain a bit harder. He's confident that his voice isn't carrying too far, and just says, our home was raided over the last couple... Let me see, actually. Let me find before I start spouting off some shit I don't know. He says, a month or so ago, forest folk started acting strangely in the woods, and they started hearing strange stories from the other families in the area of basically groups of evil gathering at what he calls Yester Hill. And as he states Yester Hill, he points down south towards the dark woods that you guys had seen at the signpost before coming this far. And he says that while they did as much scouting as they could to figure out and try and protect themselves, they just heard that there was basically trouble brewing in the area. He says 3 weeks ago, there was some things stolen from the house, and they were able to basically trace some footsteps, if you will, he says, to some of the neighboring towns or groups around the area. However, because they are such a small group here, as you can see, they weren't able to really do much about it. They were mostly on the defense. And he says 1 week ago, they were attacked They fended them off with the help from the families in the area. They were attacked by blights, and they were attacked by a druid or two, is what he referred to them as, the forest folk druids. Then he says a couple days after that, there was another assault, as he calls it, and more things were stolen from his home and from his business. And then he says that one day ago it was too much for his family, and they had to flee. And they've basically been living in the woods here, just off their property, for the last day or so, trying to kind of devise a plan of what to do, or head back to a larger town around here. So you can tell that there's the signs of like camping or just basic necessities here. They don't look malnourished or anything like that, but there's definitely no creature comforts to be seen. So the kids are not happy. They're they've been stuck out here. They're cold. They look probably underdressed, even if they do look fed. And then the woman, as the story is being told, is kind of just trying to keep one of them from not crying the entire time and give away their position. And she's doing that as best as she can by just shushing and doing what she can to calm the kid down as it's getting dark again and the rain is getting louder and louder. Adrian kind of perks up as his father is speaking and just says, "So that's the situation. Do you guys think you can help?"
What do
Sure.
you tell us about these forest folk? They said they seem like they have inhabited this land with you before and all of a sudden have attacked.
Well, they've inhabited this land before anyone else was here. They trace their lineage back to before Strahd came. Even the word Strahd now used openly is odd, just because you guys have always heard it differently. So you're noticing this family kind of living on their own maybe doesn't give a shit, or isn't used to that custom as much. But he said they lived a relatively peaceful coexistence over the decades, but it's just been the last month or so, like I mentioned, that sort of chaos has broken out. I'm not sure what they're after. I could point my fingers in a multitude of ways, which we can get into later, but yes, they've always lived around here. They're definitely evil. We try and keep track of them as much as we can, and we may not look like much. This is just my immediate family, but there's others of my, kin, if you will. Not related, but kin that live in the area, but they're all in similar situations right now where they've basically been overrun or pushed out of their homes. So
Any reason you think that they suddenly became hostile enough to enter your home? Did something agitate them?
there's always a reason behind it. I think they're after my wine, most likely. But considering I give that away to most places around here, it seems a bit suspect overall. They could just like chaos. Evil does what evil does. Not sure it always has to have a good reason. Adrian kind of butts in and goes, they've always disliked our kind around here. And so maybe this is just their final push, as evil's been growing in these lands forever, and maybe this is just the tipping point. Can't really say exactly what the reason is. We don't know.
And Shatter, I posted earlier, but remember, since I'm a druid, I know druidic.
Okay.
So any hidden messages that druids would leave, I would immediately spot them.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, you guys want to go and take out these blights and evil druids?
Let's do it.
Do you guys want to continue playing or call it here for the game? It's after that 9 o'clock mark.
Yeah, I probably need to go pass out because I have to actually go to the office tomorrow. But I do want to go
This is
find evil druids. If
This
that's
is
what they are.
a pretty good stopping point, and should be a fun couple sessions to test out your new level 5 skills. So cool. I'll make some notes. You guys make some notes. Appreciate it.
Can't make me.
I'll continue fleshing out shops and stores in Valaki, and I'll reread on stuff that's immediately in the area. But yeah, you guys are on the right paths for sure. So I know there's a ton of different ways you can go. So that's kind of what makes this campaign so fun, because it's very open ended. So
It's a kind of metagame, but like I meant to have this conversation earlier when we got together as a group. I forgot, but Vemrak would like to invest in a magical weapon if the group is okay with spending that kind of money, because obviously I don't have that personally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for, and even like, so I have a magic scimitar right now, which doesn't do anywhere near the damage of your axe, but if we get into a point where we have to fight something like that, it's probably better for you to have it than me.
Yeah, like when we faced against the hags, like my damage did nothing because of the
Whereas
whatever.
like I can barely hit. Like on that metagame point, Toto is, his focus is on like his spell casting and his wisdom, and his charisma. Like he's not weak in strength or dexterity or any of that, but he's not good at it either. So like I don't think it would be hard to convince Toto to be like, hey, I think I can actually like fuck some shit up with that sword better than you. Like he's a very pragmatic character in that sense. So, you know.
Yeah, well, I would say keep your sword for yourself because I'm a two-hander.
Yeah.
Using two-hander weapons.
I'm just saying, like, if we get in a fight where it's obvious that there's something that needs punched in the face with a magic weapon, like, shout, and we can figure it out. Because Toto's strengths lie in calling down the wrath of Torm on things, not so much hitting them with his weapons.
So would you guys be good with? So you guys are okay if I pay to get that magical weapon then? It's like 1,200.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good with me.
Yeah, I don't. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Well, thanks, Shatner. Thanks, everyone else. I am going to go to bed. See y'all next week,
Okay.
hopefully.
See ya.
Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks.